Hey everyone, I'm Ryan at Marine Parts Source. I went on Temu and I bought a bunch of different boat parts. First up is this power inverter, this 1500 watt inverter. We're gonna try it out. We're gonna put it side by side with the inverters that we sell. Let's see if we can track down one of our technicians to help us test this stuff out. I see one right over here. All right, guys, so I found Jordan. He's one of the wizards over here at the Inverter Service Center. He makes all this magic happen, and he's gonna help us test these inverters out. What we have here is this aptly branded power inverter. Now, there actually is a real brand on this, but just first of all, let's look at the packaging on this. This is exactly how this inverter was shipped to us. It had a poly bag over it, but it had no padding or anything inside, just this cardboard box right here. We're gonna compare it against this Xantrex X-Power inverter. They're both 1500 watt. They're both modified sine wave. We'll get into that in a minute. We would ship this normally in a larger cardboard box with some padding around it and stuff, make sure it's well protected. These are electrical devices. You wanna make sure that it's not being jostled around and just really damaged during shipping. So let's open this up and just see how well they did with that. On three, ready? 1, 2, 3. Amazing. All right, let's bring this in so we can really look at them side by side. All right, they're both got the padding here on either side. I'm not gonna lie, this is packaged pretty well for something that was so cheap. I didn't even mention. Do you know how much this was? Guess how much this was on Temu.
$100.
$27.
I only know how to ship it for that much.
How much is this retail that we're selling it for?
About $200.
$200.
Yeah.
Again, side by side in terms of like their specs and everything, this is 1500 watts, this is 1500 watts. This is modified sine wave, this is modified sine wave. We'll look at some of the other features on these things, but they're supposed to be similar. Look at the size difference.
Yeah, I mean physically it's obviously twice as big. It probably weighs twice as much, so you got to wonder, can it do twice as much?
Yeah, right, exactly. So we're gonna figure all that out. But yeah, in terms of packaging inside this box, it's fine. It'll do the job. I guess it'll get it there.
Yeah, but not to be shipped. I mean, not that this can be shipped like this either, but
yeah, but this is what they did ship it in.
Yeah, which is
that's
for
concerning.
$20. I don't know what you're going to expect, Ryan.
Right. So we got the inverter here. Look how cute. Isn't that precious? And then it comes with some alligator clip and terminal wires, right?
No, those look good.
Okay. And then this is to plug into your cigarette.
Because that'll run 1500 watts right there.
You believe that or no? All right, so the fact that this little chintzy adapter and terminals, this wire,
it's falling apart.
Oh yeah, that this wire would run 1500 watts.
No, I mean, most cigarette lighter outlets are fused at like 7.5 to 10 amps. So that's, nowhere near enough.
So I hope you have your fire extinguisher handy.
Yeah.
All right, so let's look at the Xantrex one now. This is the X-Power 1500. Tell us about it.
So same thing, modified sine wave. It still has the outlets on the end. You notice it's got a GFI outlet on the end, whereas this does not. I'll show you probably the reason behind that later, because that's probably not making the power correctly. Same thing, it's got fans on the other end, DC connections there.
Okay.
But other than that, you can tell definitely a big difference in size, difference in weight probably there as well.
I mean, this is probably a pound.
I mean, this feels about like 8 pounds.
Like a baby?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, this is nothing. This feels like it's empty inside.
Yeah.
And
just like my soul.
So anyway, okay, here's the instructions that you get with this inverter. Like just a little fold out, though the words are so tiny, I don't even know if my teenager could read them. So, there's a lot, I guess, packed into these 4 little folds right here. But what is the Xantrex come
So Xantrex got several different pages about connections and everything in there. Warning labels, specs, everything's in the manual there.
Right. Okay.
Troubleshooting information, which I'm sure you're gonna have trouble with that one.
All right, I'm gonna put my glasses on and see if I can see anything of substance here. If any machine parts were damaged under normal using conditions, we will, upon verification, offer new parts or maintenance for free and collect the damaged parts. What's yours say?
I'm not sure where it's at, but I can tell you it's 1 year on these as well.
1 year warranty as well. So that's comparable.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know who you're going to call about warranty on this. Do you call Temu? Do they have a phone number?
I don't think so. So you might, this is the brand right here.
You pronounce that and I'll call it.
Liwan? Anybody want to take a shot at this?
Not so much.
Come on, anybody? Liwan?
Liwan.
I like that one, Liwan.
World renowned.
Made in China. Where's yours made?
Designed in Canada, manufactured in China.
Okay, all right. So components both coming from China. That one is designed in China, in Canada,
Yeah.
right? All right. There's no telling where this one's designed, but I would imagine probably China
The same
as
place
well.
it was built, I
Yeah,
imagine.
exactly. And like you said, it's got the sockets here on the end. This one does as well, on off. This has got the.
You've got some USBs there, though.
I've got a USB
or at least
port.
one.
That's something that this doesn't have.
Yeah.
5-volt out. So that's got one up on that.
I think we just need to power them up and see what happens. Let's probably run the smaller one first to give it the fresher batteries. Once we run them down a little bit, we'll hook the Xantrex to it and see what it does as well.
All right, let's make it happen.
So I'll give you a little bit of background. So we're actually an authorized service center for a bunch of different inverter manufacturers. So
Right.
this is literally what we do every single day is test inverters, fix inverters, send them back. So we've got 600 amp hours of 12-volt battery bank, way more than I promise you either one of those is going to really call for. We just got enough to run it with. We've also got a load bank up here. Our load bank can do 10,000 watts. Of course,
Okay.
these say they only do 1,500, so we're going to try them out on like a 500 watt. We'll try 1,000 watt. We'll just see what happens.
Cool. Okay. So you've got that running into a terminal block and then a plug coming off of that, so we can just plug into this and
We'll plug into
see what
that, hook
happens.
these up to these battery connections, turn it on, and see what happens.
Okay. And so you were saying, what were you guessing that the gauge wire is that came with this inverter?
If I had to guess, this looks like number 6. It's not printed anywhere on it.
So,
But just from my vast years of knowledge, this looks like number 6.
and what would you recommend for an inverter of this size?
At least a number 2,
Which would be a larger size wire.
a lot larger. This is rated for about 50 amps if it's number 6.
And what is this doing here? This is
You're going to pull at least 100 amps at full load.
okay. All right. Yeah. So, and this is 12 volt. It's converting to 110 AC. Let's see what happens, right?
Yeah. Well,
Okay.
let's find out.
I'm going to stand back.
I appreciate that.
This was listed under the boat parts section on Temu. It wasn't just like random inverter that I'd like would you buy for your automobile or whatever. It was specifically categorized in the boat parts section. So it's intended, or at least whoever listed this, intended it to be sold for the marine applications.
Which is not even UL listed, so I definitely wouldn't try to put it on a boat.
What does UL listing mean?
So a UL listing is a certification that things go through to basically to say that it's safe, it's got all the necessary manuals, it's got the necessary fuse protection, the necessary circuit protection. It's basically safe to be on an environment like a commercial environment or a boat environment, things like that.
Okay.
It's very stringent testing that things go through that are UL certified.
And this has none of that.
If I think it did, it would be put it on it somewhere. I think the Xantrex has got right there on the back of the unit. It shows it.
Okay. So like right here on the. Oh, yeah.
So you got a UL regular certification on there, plus you got UL 458, so it's all certified.
Yeah, nothing on that one.
No.
So that's your first cause for concern, right?
Yeah, well, before we hook this up to it, I'll check it with a meter and actually see how it's making its power. That's the problem with a lot of times these cheaper inverters too, is that what they'll do, instead of making 120 volts between neutral and ground, they'll make 60 volts on the hot, 60 volts on the neutral. So
Okay.
between neutral and ground, you can find yourself with 60 volts. So you can get a little tingling sensation just by touching those two somehow.
Okay. So let's make it tingle.
You make it tingle. I'll just watch. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and hook it up. I'm just gonna hook it up the way I think it should be hooked up with these things, which should not be hooked up with these things. All right.
See if it makes your hair on your arm stand up.
I'm kind of scared to turn it on. Hey,
It's an interesting sound.
the fan came on, it beat.
Okay.
All right, let's see if we can get a reading on
Yeah,
this.
the lights are
meter.
on.
Well, so we're making 118 right there. That's between neutral and hot. We'll check it between neutral and ground here.
What's
Making about
sort-
12 volts,
All right.
50 volts. There we go. So the ground's not even.
One more time, huh?
The ground's not grounding.
You usually need it to.
Yeah, it would be nice if it did, but it should be grounded to the case here, which it's not.
And I think probably most people understand, but let's just mention, if it's not properly grounded, what's the
Getting,
potential there?
getting shocked would be the worst case scenario, yeah. Especially on a boat, if you're standing near water, you're near the water, you're touching the back rail of a boat, you're trying to come out of the water, you
Yeah.
get shocked.
Yeah. Okay.
Doesn't take very much to get shocked on a boat to kill you.
Right, right. Okay, so that's scary in and of itself. not properly grounded from what you can do. You want to test the other one to see if the other one is?
Yeah, we'll give it a shot. Yeah, the other one was.
It should be the same.
We'd think so. All right, so again, 120 volts between the neutral and the hot.
Okay.
The ground and the neutral got about 8 volts. The hot and the neutral, about 11 volts.
What should they be?
Well, I mean, the hot to ground, you should have 120.
Okay.
Neutral to hot, you should have 120. Neutral to ground, you should have nothing.
Okay. So
it goes between the hot and the ground. I got 120. No, I got 60 because it is making 60 volts in the hot, 60 volts in the neutral.
All right. So what's your assessment there?
I mean, that alone would make me never use it on a boat. I don't know. I mean,
What?
maybe in my car. I don't know. I don't know if I'll do that yet.
If you're using this Xantrex inverter on a boat, what are you trying to run on it? I mean, you're not going to run like heavy appliances or anything like that with this. You're going to use a much heavier duty inverter, right? So what is something that an inverter of this size is appropriate for running?
It can run microwave, like a small microwave, small coffee pot, toaster.
Okay.
Most of your inductive loads, because again, these are modified sine waves, so they're not going to be great for like laptops or flat screen TVs or game consoles or any of that stuff.
Yeah.
That stuff wants a pure sine wave. If you try to introduce a modified to it, it's going to create issues. It's going to burn up refrigerators. It's going to smoke chargers on drills and laptops and stuff.
Gotcha. And without getting too incredibly technical, just like for the layman, what's the modified sine wave versus pure sine wave explanation?
So biggest thing I tell people is pure sine wave is just exactly what you're getting out of the wall at your house. It's right up, come off the grid. It's really clean power. It's a real sine wave up and down. Modified is going to be kind of a stair-step type method. That's how they make their power with, but it's the cycles are different with it. So.
And it's not as going to be clean of energy, basically,
Right.
As what a pure sine wave would.
Yeah.
So the performance of the stuff that's using the inverter, if they're plugged into a modified inverter, a modified sine wave, I mean, what can you expect in terms of performance of?
The good thing about modifieds is they'll surge pretty hard, whereas a pure doesn't do quite as much. But again, like I say, the modified is just not good for for sensitive electronic stuff.
Sensitive electronics. Gotcha.
People complain about ceiling fans in their RVs and their boats humming off a modified sine wave. TVs get a little lines all in them, things like that going on.
Gotcha.
Your charger for your laptop will get real hot. That people will go through chargers on, things like that.
Okay. Fair enough. All right, so do we want to try and plug something into this thing?
I guess why not?
As long as you're closer to it than I am.
Yeah, I'm going to turn it off again just for fun. All right. Well,
what are we going to be running on it right now?
we'll just do 500 watts for now. I don't know if Chris, you want to come over here and see this load bank up here. I've just got 500 watts turned on right now. So we'll try to hit it with that, see what happens with it. We probably should go ahead and grab up too. We'll look at the battery monitor. So we got 13.45 volts going to it right now. We'll check and see what it does. All right, so that gauge over there is telling us we're doing about 600 watts off of it. So it is able to run that so far.
Okay.
Should we put 500 more on it, you think?
Yeah, why not? Uh-oh.
No, so I didn't make it to 1,000 watts.
What did you get to?
Well, I don't know. It went off, but I think I saw like 800 at one point and then it stopped.
So basically the inverter just completely shut when you hit that point, right?
Yeah, it went to a fault. It could be low battery fault because, again, these cables are really small.
Okay.
So if we wanted to, we could stick a meter over here and see what our voltage is getting to if we want to get real technical with it. But
yeah,
I'm betting it's probably because of the size of these cables, or it could be because the inverter really can't do what it's supposed to do.
Well, you've got real cables there, what you're supposed to use,
I've
right?
got some real ones, yeah, if we want to hook them up to real cables and see if that's the problem.
Let's try and be fair. Let's do it.
All right, well, I'm being fair. I used the cables that came with it.
All right, so now you're putting on 2-gauge wire.
We'll put some
or
2-gauge
cable, I
on
should
there.
say. Yeah.
The thing too is there's nothing to mount this inverter down with, so it's just going to be kind of loose no matter where you put it.
Whereas if you look at that the X Power again, you've got these notches here where you can mount it up to a wall or anywhere, hold this in place. If you're on a boat, you don't normally have a stable environment. You're knocking around all the time, and if you're knocking this type of device just loose around, there's a real good chance that a cable could come loose. An internal component could be damaged. So it's real important that it can be mounted properly. Again, like Jordan said, nothing on this one. Okay, so let's get these out of here. No way we want that anymore.
No.
All right. So 2-gauge cable, putting a load on it.
All right. Put battery back to it.
Starting with 500 again.
Yeah, let's start out with 500 again. Let's see if we can do that one. Chris, if you come over and catch this. We can see we got about 600 watts on it right now. So we got 976.
And it blew out again.
Yeah.
So 1500, it's just not going to get there.
No, we're not getting above 1,000.
Okay.
Even with correct cables on there, we're still not quite making it.
Wow. Well,
I'm dying.
those were ominous beeps that we're getting there.
Should we just try it out the gate, hit it with 1500 and see what happens?
Yeah, hit it with 1500, man. Let's go.
I don't want to wreck your $20 inverter, but
I mean, you know,
I just feel like for a safety sake.
this is what we're getting for $27. I want to get my money's worth.
All right, so we got nothing right now.
Okay.
Try to hit it with 1500.
It's not even going to get close.
No, not gonna do it.
All right. Well, there you go, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's it. There's nothing else to test.
But hey, if you want a good 500 watt inverter,
for $27.
just derate it in your math in your head. And
Divide it by 3,
Yeah.
and then you're good.
And you're good.
All right. Well, I tell you what. Let's be fair. Let's show them what a real 1500 watt inverter can do.
Let's run that one. Hopefully, it runs it.
All right. You don't want to try the.
I got nothing to
cigarette
plug that
lighter
into that I want to ruin.
All right. Come in and check this out. So while Jordan's hooking the other one up, I just want to show we're unplugging this thing, and look at the socket move when you're trying to wiggle the plug out. I mean, no bueno. Let me try the other one here. Let's just see. Yeah, they both do it. That whole socket is just wiggling. And that should not happen. That's a bad idea.
Yeah.
So yeah, let's put that aside. Let's get to the real deal here. All right, we've got the Xantrex X-Power 1500 hooked up here. I just want to point out too, it comes with a little remote panel as well that you can mount somewhere and make it easy to turn on and off. So again, something that came with this one, it's not going to come with a cheap inverter, but you've got it all hooked up, ready to turn on. Let's see what happens. Yeah. So putting the batteries on.
All right, so we got power indication here.
Okay.
So let's try again with 500 watts. So again, we're doing about 600, 650 with the 500 watt load stuck on it.
Gotcha.
Let's put another 500. We're sitting at about 1100 right now on there.
Okay. You want to see that? No problems here with the inverter. Handling it nicely.
I'm gonna put 1,000 on it just at one time.
The cheap inverter was rated for 3,000 watt surge.
3,000 surge for less than a second. I don't know how you factor that. But 3,000 watts for less than a second, 1,500 continuous.
And it didn't even get to 1,000.
Yeah, we did like 600 continuous and we were okay.
Yeah. This one is rated for
1,500 watt continuous, 3,000 surge. So same specs.
Same specs.
Yeah, it may be a little bit longer than a half a second, but same specs. So right now we've been sitting here talking this time. We're still running 1,100 watt load. It hasn't shut off yet.
Yeah, right. No beeps.
No beeps yet. So we'll try a 500. It's probably going to push us a little bit over the 1,500 watt threshold, but we'll see. So 1675 right now.
It's still handling.
Still running. We're not shutting down or anything yet. That's another 500 just to see. It did run for a little bit. So 2,000 watts there for about, what, 1 second, 2 seconds?
Right. Cool. So, and no issues there. I mean, that's doing exactly what Xantrex said it should do.
Yeah.
And
it's meeting the specs.
It's meeting the specs. So that's what you get when you pay $200 and get an inverter. You get
10 times more than what you paid for that.
It is, but I mean, what are you going to do with this? You know?
Honestly, I think if you bought it, you'd plan on just having it in your car to plug into that cigarette lighter and charge your phone with it, or a little tablet or something. But even that, you probably end up ruining the tablet off a lot of times.
But again, this was listed in the boat parts section of Temu.
Yeah.
This is not a boat inverter
I
at
gotta
all.
wonder who listed it there and if they knew
What they were talking about.
anything
Yeah,
about that.
yeah, I agree. This is not for your boat. This is for your boat. This is UL rated. This meets the specs. This is a cheap piece of crap, and it's not going to do what you want it to do. If you're looking for a 1500 watt inverter, you need this guy right here. All right, Jordan, appreciate your help in testing these out. We may come back to you for another video soon. Thank you all for watching. Really appreciate it. If you've got any questions, comments, you know where to put them down below. As always, we appreciate it if you like and subscribe, and tune in next time.